Okay, I just finished up installing my solar panel controller, and the solar panels, they plug in here. Okay, you got your negative and your positive, and so those I have extenders that go from here outside the truck over to the panel array, which I don't have set up yet. And as you can see, the green blink means that it's charging, but there's no power going into it. I've got to tie that into my kill switch here, because this right here kills everything. Okay, that's kind of a panic mode switch. And this one over here, well, that one's hooked up, and it's in the on position. This one right here is for when I hook up my batteries, the truck batteries, into my solar panel array, where I can use the 2 truck batteries for whatever purpose I might want. So when I hook that switch up, it'll basically, you've got a 1 and a 2, and then all. So you can hook them all up. Truck battery, all, 1, and off. Okay, you can see that on the thing there. And what that'll do is segregate these out. In other words, it'll always be either in the off position, unless I want to utilize both banks of batteries, meaning the 2 truck batteries in the engine compartment, which, by the way, are wired right back here. So I've got my wires back here for the 2 batteries, and I got to run them into my control box, which is here, and hook them into my circuit panel. And since it's 12 volt, it'll go over into those. Okay. And those will run into here. And you'll see I've got 2 conduits going through, and they're going up and around, and then they come out and they go right into the side of the box. I've not yet hooked them up yet, but I will. But that's all the 110 stuff. Okay. So my inverter, which is here, is what converts all the battery power to 110, or to house power, which you use to plug in refrigerators and stuff like that. And essentially, instead of having those 2 plugs right there, I don't know if you can see them through all the cords, which, by the way, I've got my fan controller plugged into right now. There's also a switch outlet box down in there. I don't know, yeah, you can see them. See those 2 orange plugs down there? That's where the battery charger will plug into. Right now I've got it into an extension cord and just plugged into the house. But once I get that wired, which the wires are inside this conduit, and I got to bring that conduit over and into the side of here, and then that'll hook into either this plug, that plug, or the generator plug switch right here. And then I'll be able to switch it or what have you. Okay. Oh, by the way, that's where my air outlet is, right there. And I don't know if I had this in the last time, but there's my air tank, my pump, and that's all ready to go. It's all wired and ready to, well, it's not wired yet, but it's all the wires are hooked up and everything. And here's my junction box for all my 110 that's coming out of the box, like my switch down there. You can see the wires already running there and into my switch box down there. So I've got 2 plugs down in there as well. I also have a 4-gang right here. Okay. And so depending on whether I have the generator plugged in, which is here, or the generator's plugged in up there, which is my automatic box, or just regular 110 outlet right there. Just plug the extension cord in there, and that will power all of my 110 stuff. The most important 110 that I've got right now in this setup when you're off grid is your battery charger. Now, you can see that my batteries are charged to 14.5 volts. And it's very difficult to see down in there now, but you see those 2 red lights? That's bank 4. Alright, the one all the way to the right is bank 4. Bank 3 is green, bank 2 is red, and bank 1 is green. So 1 and 3 are charged. Now, in my particular setup, this is battery 1, bank 1, bank 2, bank 3, and bank 4. So 3 and 1 are fully charged. We're waiting on number 2 and number 4 to fully charge, and that will happen when it gets to 14.6. Okay? Alright. And then those down there, those 2 red ones, which is bank 2 and 4, will turn green. And then the battery charger will shut basically down. It'll stop controlling. Same thing with my solar charger. When that stops blinking and it's a solid green, that means that that the solar panels have charged the batteries to full capacity. All right. Now I also installed this meter right here, which shows me what my voltage is, so I don't have to open up the box to look inside and see what the inverter is. Now you'll notice that says 14.5 and this one says 14.4. Well, because of the cables and stuff like that, you can see I've got them pretty long right now because I'm not sure where exactly I want everything. But once I cut those cables down, in other words, I'm losing a volt just through these cables. And see, there's my negative and there's my positive. And those are both wired into this switch. That's why it's killing the kill switch. So I'm losing a volt in all of that. But because the inverter is basically the end of the line, everything that's going through this thing is costing me a volt. All right. I might be able to fix that if I hook my voltmeter directly into my inverter right there and right there. Because right now they're hooked. See those 2 yellow tabs? See the red and the black post down there? There it is. Those are wired right into that. So that being at the end of the line basically. So I'm losing a lot through my cabling. But I mean, 1 volt is a lot. Actually, it's 0.1 volt. Okay, so it's not a tremendous amount. But anyway, okay. The other thing that I've done is I've got my fans on the thermostat. Okay, now I've got it set to on right now, but I can change it to off. So I don't know if you can tell if the fans are off. But there's a fan directly underneath this, in between the battery charger and the inverter, that's sucking down and blowing onto the battery charger, and then they come out. You can see the other fan right there. You can see it better out here. And there's the exhaust fan. So when I turn this sucker on, you can see it's blowing pretty darn good. Okay. And again, I haven't wired this up yet permanently, just for testing purposes, but this wire right here is hooked into those two fans. Comes over here, and I got a plug here, and I can plug those in. I can plug those two in, and then this fan right here will work and keep this box cool. Now, what's cool is this thing has a temperature probe. All right, so I keep that inside my battery box. I usually keep it right underneath this cable right here. All right, so that sensor, see, I've got it set to 100 degrees right now, but I do have it in the on position. That's why the fans are running. But if I move this to, oh, I hit the wrong button. See it's off now. Alarm, auto. So now it's in auto mode, and when the temperature inside that box gets to 100 degrees, which right now it's 83, those fans will kick on and keep running until the temperature gets down below 100. So that's pretty good. Now, I've got some other devices here, like if you wanted to, if you were in here and you wanted to plug in some sort of a lighter type situation, a plug, you've got one there. I think this is for charging USB devices, and I got to buy a new switch. The other one was too shallow for this setup I've got, so you can see those ones are pretty long, they stick out, but my on-off switch was flush. I couldn't mount it on there. But anyway, that'll be a kill switch that'll kill this entire panel. I've got this battery indicator installed, but I don't have any, I didn't hook up the load. You got to have a load on here to display it. It'll display for a minute and tell you where your batteries are, but then it shuts off because it's got no load on it. What else? What else can I tell you? So, each day I'm hooking up something different. I've got to get a mount designed to mount my solar panels, and I'm thinking, for those of you who saw the other videos of stuff, let me get the hell out of this truck. It's hot as shit. Well, it's not hot as shit, it's 83 degrees. But I intend on building something here where I can pull these out. Now, these come out, so I'll be able to put something in there that'll come across. Let's see, come across, and then give me a mounting plate, because I've got a pole, and all four panels will mount on that pole, and it'll swivel depending on where the sun is. So I've got to get that fabricated. Of course, there's my generator. But I mean, there it is, and you can't see it, but I can. I guess not, but right there, those red lights are blinking. But anyway, so she's coming along, and I've got to build some sort of a mount for transporting the solar panels, which I've got right here. These are my GS100, so I've got 400 watts of solar panels that when I set those up, when I'm in a situation where I don't have shore power, which is plugged into the house power right in there, through the extension cord. So my batteries are just about totally charged. So as soon as that's done charging, I'll unplug it and then close it up, and just through the normal time, your batteries do, you know, lose a little bit of their charge. But you know, if I needed to go somewhere right now, I've got plenty of battery life. Of course, I would take my generator, and I've got 26 gallons of fuel there, gasoline, because my generator is gasoline and propane, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 20, 40, 60, and then I have another one right here. That's a 30. So I've got 90 pounds of propane that I can carry with me. And you can never have too many extension cords. I just bought this at the auction the other day. It's a 100-footer, and I'll cut that into 250s because, you know, 100 feet is quite a distance. But you know, if you're running your generator, which this one is a pretty quiet generator, I wouldn't hesitate to even, you know, put that behind a tree somewhere if you're out in the woods, if you got a tree, and just to keep all the noise away. But it's pretty quiet otherwise. I've got my stands. You know, these are like $12, you know, but it's a stand to, you know, you put on the ground and you put your tank in there. I mean, it just keeps them up off the ground. You know, because I mean, they are steel tanks and they will rust. Of course, those are the exchange ones. So every time you get a new one, it's going to be freshly painted anyway. But I don't know. I'm a gadget guy. So, all right. Well, as I hook up more stuff, I'll let you know. This thing should be coming alive pretty soon. I've got my my air pressure gauge right there. Once I hook everything in, it'll go through the pressure gauge first before it comes out here. You know, and then we can have all the airflow that we need. Plus, the other reason for getting the air tank and the pump and everything is because I do eventually plan on putting airbags underneath for the RV, and you know, so a lot of this stuff is in preparation for the future. But anyway, thanks for watching.